What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today when I talk to you about Lucid, I want to go over some of the current data points, what shorts did, and what is to potentially come. Before I get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid went up a astonishing 25% today and record high numbers. So 167.79 million shares were traded. 28.5 is the average. The only time it's ever come close to this was like 188 million. I just looked it up. I think it was like mid 2023. So it's been a very long time since it's had anything remotely to this volume. And historically, at least last time I had like 124 million, the following day it did go up another about 15%. So I don't know, it's going to be a lot of fun times ahead. There was a lot of different attributing factors that caused a Lucid to go high today, a lot of which is just showcasing the Sapphire based on that Haggerty, I think that's his name, that video that came out. So I think we already do generally know that Lucid's technology is next level. And so I think that's why a lot of investors have stuck around for as long as they have with Lucid, despite the crappy price action. So I think finally the market is seeing Lucid as a very big competitor to, or just in the whole EV sector, not necessarily to against one target in general. So I think that is one big thing, a potential partnership or partnerships, because in Peter's last interview, he was asked about that and he mentioned partnerships. So, and he kind of had this weird grin. So I think that maybe this upcoming earnings, which is slated for August the 5th, there might be some pretty big announcements coming. So a couple of those things did really drive Lucid higher. And plus on a larger scale, the whole EV sector is very sensitive to interest rates. And so with a lot of the data that's been coming out over this last like 48 hours, that has really driven up optimism to, or I guess for rate cuts. So right now, looking at the September 18th meeting, there is a 88.1% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut. And then the following one on November the 7th, there is another 54.8% likelihood of a second 25 basis point cut. So in essence, 2 rate cuts in 2024 is epic and very good for the whole EV sector, for the economy. I'm going to play this video, a couple of minutes of it near the tail end. It kind of just talks on how a lot of small and large cap stocks, including Lucid, could really benefit significantly from the whole Fed cuts that might be coming. So a lot of that really drove up Lucid. And a lot of people were saying that it was shorts. Shorts actually did increase 330,000 shares today. 27.83% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 246.42 million shares overall are being shorted. Utilization is 93.1, and then short score is 94.78. Cost to borrow average is 23.13%, and then the minimum is even relatively high at 21.46. As a grand total, there is $836.71 million worth of shorts. And Lucid today did run up about 85 cents. So if you think about it, shorts did lose almost around 240 or about $235 million just today. So I don't know, this is definitely something for the ages, and potentially if you look historically what has happened with Lucid, there is going to be at least another about 15% return, potentially again. We don't really know exactly what is going to come. Sometimes the crystal ball isn't always accurate, but just wanted to give you a quick overview of this. So when I was going through all the historical volume right here, you can kind of see they did have about 124 million, followed by another 100 million. So this is out of the last about 2 years. This is the most relevant kind of scenario on this day. So January 29th, 2024. Don't really know the context of that, but it did go up 27.17%, followed by about 2.67% in the green, but it did have a high of 382. So at that point, it did go up another about 15-ish%. So all in all, that could come Monday, because starting on Monday, you're also going to have this happen. So a little bit of a gamma squeeze. So this is all the open interest on the calls for this latest chain. So July the 12th. So that is today. It does have around 9,000 at the $3 strike price, 19,000 at the 350, and then 5,000 at that 4. All of that is in the money, meaning market makers are going to come on Monday and buy all that, because market makers don't have a lot of risky stocks and volatile stocks such as Lucid in their inventory. So they always have to go to the open market to buy that. And in my experience, it is always on Monday. So first thing on Monday, you should see a very nice spike up. I'm going to go over all that once again during my weekend video on some expectations for this upcoming week. But these are all the transactions as well that did occur today on the secondary market above $100,000. So very, very abnormal. Couple of big ones, 6.41 million, 1 million, and first thing as well, 1.35 million. So hopefully there is that continuation of momentum that really stemmed from basically Wednesday, more specifically Thursday and Friday. So hopefully again that does roll over into next week, but by market makers covering all of this, that should be a good about 3 million at least bump up first thing. And that's not even counting shorts, because I kind of did another Lucid video earlier today, and I explained how Lucid in essence is considered somewhat of a risky stock, coming from shorts. So a lot of shorts do need a lot of margin, and so when a stock goes up a good like 20 something percent in one day, that is magnified to your margin. So whoever is shorting Lucid does have some pretty damn deep pockets, but those pockets are starting to get pulled on. So yes, I get a lot of people like to just shout out short squeeze, but in reality, it could come. So let's say come Monday, there is a nice bump up, let's say about 15%, a nice piggybacking off of this momentum, then no doubtably you're going to have some shorts return some shares. So it's going to be a very, very unique and interesting circumstance. So right now it is above all the key points based on the fib levels. You can kind of even see based on the technicals, it is very outside the Bollinger Band. So kind of crazy stuff for that. Nonetheless, still very interesting. It is considered somewhat overbought based on the stochastic, but still nothing really wrong with that. Keep in mind though, the first sign of weakness associated to a company, you're going to see a pullback, as what has typically happened in the past, such as right here. But in reality, I think over the last about 2 weeks, Peter's done, was it 2 conferences and 2 interviews, or 1 podcast, 1 interview. So I think a lot of people are just taking that as a overwhelming we beat our earnings. So I think that's very apparent. And plus, Faisal doing his 3-minute interview as well, he did give a lot of hints that they are going to far exceed their delivery targets at the end of the year. So that's set for around 9,000. So yeah, it might be a bit premature to talk on, but I think bigger and better things will be coming. And once you have analysts, for instance, starting to warm up to Lucid, then this is where things again could go very, very right for Lucid. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid. Give yourself a shout out if you have been buying. Did you buy today? Did you sell? You could tell a lot of retail has been buying over the last couple of days. So are you part of that group or not? One final thing I just wanted to share with you, make sure you guys definitely take advantage of this promo. It is a kick-ass deal. Just sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 5 free stocks. So this is definitely a very good deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. But like I mentioned, I just wanted to quickly play this video, a couple of minutes from it, only because it does talk on what at least this analyst's viewpoint on interest rate cuts is going to do to small and mid-cap stocks. So hopefully everyone had a good day. I have a weird feeling that everyone had a very ecstatic day because of the price action, and hopefully everyone has a good weekend. So let me know your thoughts.
Is this, people love the great rotation question because they always want to say yes, it is. Very few people want to say no, it's not. Where do you fall?
Well, I think we're all hoping it is. I mean, most active managers are struggling with the fact that if you're running a mutual fund, for example, you can't be overweight the Magnificent Seven just due to regulatory requirements and restrictions. And so we're all hoping for broadening for that reason, but also because that would imply that there's a broader economic well-being. I kind of use the terminology with our clients here at Rockland Trust that, the big tech companies kind of make their own weather, and they just kind of go up based on their own secular phenomena. What we're seeing and hoping is that the broadening will come as a result of the weather getting better. People feeling more and more comfortable and confident that the soft landing scenario that we're all hoping for comes to fruition, and the data that we've received over the last couple of weeks with the jobs numbers last week and CPI yesterday support that there's going to be a Fed cut, and ultimately that if it's the beginning of a series of cuts, should result in positive economic outcome and perhaps will manage the very, very challenging outcome of getting to a soft landing.
What happened today, Ron, that made the Dow move as high as it is?
Well, I think a couple of things. Consumer expectations eased off a little bit, which once again reinforces that the Federal Reserve probably needs to make an interest rate cut. Inflation expectations among consumers included in that University of Michigan sentiment reading that came out today fell to the lowest level we've seen in quite a number of months. And PPI for, coming in slightly above expectations wasn't really all that hot and doesn't change the inflation narrative much. And so I think, as was being said, the soft landing scenario looks quite good. The Atlanta Fed just upgraded its GDP forecast for the second quarter from 1.5% to 2% annual rate of growth. It still looks fairly Goldilocks here. And indeed, if it's going to broaden out, if the economy is going to stay in, lower interest rates generally will favor small caps as well as large caps. But they'll get that tailwind that they've needed. Yeah, no matter the cap.
Whatever kind of cap.
Whatever kind of cap. No cap. Yeah.
No cap.
So yeah, you can kind of get the gist of what they're saying. One thing as well I just wanted to show you was this right here. So when they're talking about the great rotation, I've kind of used this example in some of my other stocks that have been more heavily beaten down, more than Lucid in fact. But you can see at all-time highs, like there's a lot of money, almost like more than $6 trillion sitting in money markets. So when they're talking about a rotation, people need to feel comfortable. So right now they're comfortable sitting, earning the 5% or whatever it is. But like when they start to see very optimistic signals in the market, which of course based on that analyst they're assuming it is going to be rate cuts, then they will be moving away from money markets back into equities. And that will be more of a similar scenario to, let's say, as you can kind of even see right here, in 2021. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people know what happened in 2021. Everything went up like a fucking craziness. Sorry for my French, but yes. And look at the levels in 2020 compared to now. So it was at, let's say, about just over about 5 trillion. So another $1 trillion is sitting in money markets. So imagine when they're talking about this rotation. And I have this one friend who's always very tinfoil hat. He's talking on not the mother of all short squeezes, but he's talking about the mother of all market expansions. So kind of to piggyback off of that one analyst, a big rotation is this right here. So I just wanted to kind of add some context to that and how magnified that could be. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. This is my Friday evening rant. Hopefully you guys are all having a good day. But with all that, appreciate all of you guys watching.